Hello everyone, and welcome. I can still hear the classical music in my ears, and it's making it kind of hard for me to talk. So let me bring that down just a little bit for myself, and then maybe up for you, so you get a little bit of a little background music. Classy. Hi everybody, welcome to the Sewers of Paris. I see Katie1S, hello, and Sophia's Dynamite is here, and Nick and Marco. Hello everyone. Welcome to my home. Here we are. We're going to talk about some sewers, and FKA Raphael is here. Once again, Raphael, I almost called you Rachel. I don't know why I do that. It is entirely my problem. Why do I do that? I don't know. I'm broken. Anyway, so here we are. We're going to talk about some gay stuff and some queer entertainment and just what's going on in your lives, I suppose. The thing that the big plan, the reason I do these live streams is I want to hear from you guys about what you're watching and listening. Oh, and Tomer's here. Hello. What you're watching and listening to and reading and just, what's in your media diet these days. I have been reading some Joan Crawford, My Way of Life. We've been reading that on my Let's Read streams, which I normally do Monday and Friday. We've had to dial those back a little bit because we're so busy with Queens of Adventure stuff, but I'm still doing them on Mondays. It's just advice from Joan Crawford about how to live your life as an incredibly rich person. So that's applicable. What else have we been reading here? Oh, of course, Auntie Mame. There she is. And the book is so good, you guys. The movies are lovely, but the book, oh, the book. Let's see here. What do we got? Marco says, I don't know. KD1S says, first movie I ever saw that let me know there were other people was Making Love with the delicious Harry Hamlin and Michael Ontkeen. Harry Hamlin, not the... I always conjure the wrong face, it may surprise you to hear, when I think of Harry Hamlin, because it makes me think of the guy from Night Court. What's the name of the guy from Night Court? Who was also on Cheers. He was the magician on Cheers. Well, we'll never know. Harry Houdini, let's say. Yes, Harry Houdini, the magician on Cheers. That's what I think of when I think of Harry Hamlin. But anyway, so the movie Making Love, I want to say, is that movie in... Did they talk about that in Celluloid Closet? I can't remember. John Larroquette? No, different guy. I know John Larroquette was on Night Court, but different guy. He was the judge, I think. I've literally never seen an episode of Night Court. All I've ever seen of Night Court is when they made fun of Night Court on on 30 Rock, and they had like a fake Night Court on 30 Rock. That's all I've ever seen of the show, and it wasn't even actually the show. Raphael says, someone last time recommended a book called Killer and Drag, but I've yet to find it. Harry. It is Harry something, right? I'm not crazy about that. It's a different Harry. It's Harry and the Hendersons. What? I'm just wild about Harry Hamlin. Making Love, I've never seen it. Only seen like the stories about it and how important it was at the time for people. So I don't know if it's like available to stream anywhere. I can't imagine there's a lot of demand for it. Basically, it was a gay, like kind of a gay romance drama in the 80s. Studio film before people were ready for something like that. Josh says, I grew up in the 90s, so my first gay icons were Carmen Sandiego, Rita Repulsa, and Tanya Harding. James, these are marvelous. I think you'd be completely delighted by this. Carmen Sandiego. So I think Anthony was talking recently about how Carmen Sandiego has had like 20 different theme songs, and they've all been fantastic theme songs. Like on different shows and computer games and stuff. Yes, and Rita Repulsa, lots of enthusiasm from Nick for, oh my god, Rita Repulsa. Such a good drag character without ever actually being a drag character, but like close enough. Oh, and Cruising, of course, as Katie1S, Cruising. But Josh, yes, oh my god, so many good gay icons there. And what was I going to say? So I want to focus, do some more of my Culture Cruise videos about 90s stuff. I'm thinking potentially for my next Culture Cruise, I might do a comparison of Tu Wong Fu and Priscilla. That's going to be a lot of work, and I'm not sure May is the right month for me to do that because I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling in May, and I might not have time to do a good version. So we'll see. Oh, just, my voice is coming out of multiple devices here. Paul says, binge watched a lot of bad gay movies this month and a few good ones. Oh, I saw some bad gay movies too. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to shame anybody, but there's some really bad gay movies out there. I recommend Donald Strachey Strachey Mystery starring Chad Allen as a gay detective. Oh my goodness. Once again, I've made the mistake of sitting down, getting recommendations, and not having something to write with. James, I know you're brushing your teeth right now. When you have a chance, could you give me something to write on? I have a pen right here. The pen is good. Oh, and he brought me a pen. Oh, lovely. Oh, this music is so classy. Oh, and Morris was okay. Yeah, Morris is so sweet. I know, sir. Rocky Horror Picture Show, naturally, says Mike. Making Love never mentioned Cellular Closet. I know I saw it mentioned in some documentary at some point. Donald Strachey Mysteries. Donald Strachey Mysteries. I love a good mystery. Start reading the books. Are they like novels or short stories? Because I'm always looking for short story mysteries to read. I've got like, these are a little too short. These 5-minute mysteries here. And the solutions are not always great. But now that I've done a lot of Sherlock Holmes and a lot of Marple, I'm always looking for more. So should I read some Donald Strachey on stream? Katie1S says, Cruising was good because it was honest about the gay S&M scene. Well, I mean, there was a whole murderer thing. I don't know how. Honest? I mean, it had elements. Let's put it that way. It had elements. And Bound was a great noirish lesbian film. Yes, we talked about that one on the last stream, I think. And Muriel's Wedding, was that 90s? Yeah, absolutely. Mike says, Torch Song Trilogy. Oh, yes, Torch Song Trilogy. I should put that on my list, too. Torch Song Trilogy, which I always want to say stars... oh, gosh, it's got Olympia Dukakis, but I always want to say the actress who's now I've forgotten her name. The actress who played Sophia. I can't believe I've forgotten her name. Oh boy, this is gonna be a bad time, you guys. I'm forgetting every single name, including the ones that I really should remember. Wait, it was B. Arthur. It was. Oh no, what's happening to my brain? Rose Nyland was played by Betty White. Rue McClanahan played Blanche, and Sophia was played by Armadette Peterson. Nope. Completely wrong. I can't remember her name. I'm reading the Oliver Sacks autobiography, at least in the beginning. It's quite gay. Ooh, that sounds fascinating. What's the title of Oliver Sacks' autobiography? The Man Who Met a Man Who Mistaked His Wife for a Hat? I'm putting that on my list as well. Oliver Sacks biography. Okay, where are we? Hosted by Lily Tomlin, of course, Cellular Closet. He started them in the 80s. Oh, he started in the 80s, kept going. So gay culture changes wildly throughout. That sounds so interesting. Oh my goodness. Paul, I'll definitely look those up. Life Size is a gay classic. Young Lindsay Lohan and pre-smizing Tyra. Wait, that's not the one where it's like freaky. No, it's like, doesn't she get like a doll that comes to life and it's Tyra? Am I totally misremembering that? Okay, James says it's correct. Okay. Katie Winnet says, the fierce Harvey Fierstein. Of course, Harvey Fierstein. Yeah, so good in that. And Matthew Broderick? Is Matthew Broderick in Torch Song Trilogy? Making Love was mentioned documentary, Cellular Closet, even interviewed the star. Estelle Getty, of course. Oh, Moonstuck. Moonstuck? Or wait, Moonstruck. What's Moonstuck? Katra, sometimes I do not remember my name. It is a problem. It's a huge problem. Like... No, I remember my own name. But, like, significant details about my life, sometimes I can't remember. Like, I had to get a birthday present for my nephew recently, and I couldn't remember my brother's name for a couple minutes. Like, my brother's name, I couldn't remember. It was weird. And Jeffrey, of course, film of gay men dating in the 90s. Patrick Stewart, I literally have not seen it since the 90s. I wonder how it aged. I'm definitely... Jeffrey. Putting that on my list. Katie Winnet says, my exposure to gay community here happened in the late 80s through the early 90s. Raphael says, Life Size was a Disney masterpiece. Yeah, it was a real Mary Poppins of its day. Amy and Jaguar, or is it Jaguar? I can't remember how they pronounce it, but yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. That's another 90s one, huh? Amy and Jaguar. Cher, Olympia Dukakis. Oh, of course. Sort of soapy movie from Italian-American. I loved it. Is that the one that has the kid from Nightmare on Elm Street 2? Because Cher was in a movie with him before, or was she just in a play? Well, they appeared together in something. Anne Bancroft in TTT. Wait, what's TTT? Torch Song Trilogy. Anne Bancroft, not Olympia Dukakis. Olympia Dukakis is in Tales of the City. Torden says, afternoon. Hi, Torden. How are you? Katie Winnet says, I heard many tales of gay life in the 70s in my city. I was too young at the time, but I wish I had been older. I sometimes wish that too, but also there were so many difficulties back then that there is definitely a part of me that's like, I'm glad I missed some of these things. Although, oh my goodness, you guys, let me call this up. I was looking through, Oh, hold on. Sorry, just getting a lot of emails here. I was looking through a gay slang dictionary from the 19... Oh, somebody's having a puff outside. A gay slang dictionary from the 1960s of how gay people, like, their shorthand for things 50 years ago? Would that be 50, 60, almost 60 years ago? So, oh my goodness. So much amazing gay slang. Here, let me call this up. So it's from the book. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Gay Talk. It's backwards, of course. A sometimes outrageous dictionary of gay slang. Let's see. So, I was just going to look at the chat. Oh, Broken Hearts Club. Good 90s gay rom-com. There's a Life Size 2 in the works. Of course there is. Of course there is. I want Tyra to make a movie version of Model Land, though. When do we get a movie of Model Land? Jordan says, hope your weekend's going well. I rather wish I was younger. Less bullshit for the younger ones, I hope. You know what? You are the age you are, and enjoy however you have aged. That's my advice to wine. There used to be a good blog, NYC Not Kansas, still New York City from the 50s, the 90s. It was awesome. Oh my goodness. That sounds amazing. Elliot says, I love Sweet Home Alabama way more than it deserves. I don't think I've seen that. First movie I saw that had a gay character. Ethan Embry's lifelong crush. Sweet Home Alabama. Huh? Is that with Reese Witherspoon or someone Reese adjacent? And Whitney says, thank you for gay debrief and culture reviews. Big fan. Thank you. Thank you. What should I do for my next one? I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of things in the works. But I would love to hear folks' recommendations. I just did the one about John Waters on the episode of The Simpsons. People seem to like that a lot. So what should I do next? I got a lot of things in my file. I'm looking for stuff that's like fun. Like I think that's one reason that the Simpsons one went over so well is like it's fun. Like people just enjoy talking about that episode because it's real good. I don't want to like talk too much about stuff that are bummers. Like for sure, I've done videos about like Longtime Companion, which is a huge bummer. But you know, I'm looking for stuff that's like celebration and is about how cool it is to be gay. Oh, yes, Reese Witherspoon. Very good. And Nick says, Polari was incredible back in the day. You know, there are only like little bits of Polari that survive, like zhuzh. And boy, I wish we had more of it still in our language. Katie West says, my exposure to Manhattan started in the 80s. Tower Records was there. We used to do pilgrimages. We had the same thing in Boston. There was Tower Records at the end of Boylston, James? At the end of one of them. And yeah. R.I.P. Tower Records. Catcher says, I wish I lived in an area with a gay community I could get involved in. I live in the middle of nowhere. I can't drive. It's the only reason I dislike my blindness sometimes. That does seem inconvenient. Surely, well, I mean, I guess it depends on, like, how nowhere are we talking? Like, is there really, like, just no, like, gay community or no, like, blind gay community where you are? Because, yeah, I get, like, if you're in, like, farmland, Pennsylvania, yeah, it would be tough to connect with other people, but, you know, that's why we got the internet, at least. Josh says, all the top star season, the All-Stars season of Top Model, Tyra made the top 3 act-out scenes for Model Land. What? How did I not know about that? What? Oh my goodness. Raphael says, love to see a video about it, but I'm a cheerleader in the future. Because Will Young won and I was understanding my sexuality, so how on me, whoa. And then it was, sorry, I'm like completely rearranging every word in that sentence. Idols UK. Oh, Will Young won. I was understanding my sexuality then. And it was so hard on me coming from a village in Kenya, but the story of a gay guy winning Idol made such a difference for me. I can only imagine, like, honestly, I can't even imagine, Silas, like what that must have been like. Were you living in Kenya at the time or were you in the UK when that happened? Gosh. Yeah, wow. That must have been quite meaningful. Okay, so I was going to read you some gay slang from the 1960s. Listen to this. So first, like the first one my eye landed on when I was reading this book was hairbender. Like, fantastic. A hairbender is a hairdresser, a beautician, also known as a Bruce or a hair cranker or Mr. Beverly. Sure. Hair fairy is someone who's really into long hair. There's dainty daddies. A homosexual affects the mannerisms of a woman and takes the active position sexually. Woo. Yes, Avatar, the Last Airbender. We've got, let's see, a daisy ring, a small gathering of homosexuals in a public park. It's great. I've been a part of many daisy rings in my time. Hilltop Drive, the upturned buttocks shaped visually like a rounded M. And what else we got here? Hint of mint. This is one of my favorites. Hint of mint means just a trace of homosexual tendencies. He's got a hint of mint. Ugh, fantastic. Let's see. Marco says, what's the worst and best thing of being gay? And how would you put it for a young child who's curious and you want to educate? Gosh, what a question. Let me think about that. The worst and best thing about being gay. And while I'm thinking about that, I'm looking at the other comments there. Whitney says, I need a hair fairy to fix my hair. No, it's the hair bender who fixes the hair. It's the hair fairy who likes having long hair. Whew. Kitty Winnes says, my coming out started late 80s. I was a sysop for a local BBS. Oh my goodness, you're really taking me back. So all the traffic. One user was named Pollo Calvin Fluff. The first two were dogs, the last a cat. Aww. Hint of mint. Elliot says, I'm using hint of mint now. I know, it's so good. It's so good. Catcher says, I can't leave my house except for bio class and church. I love where I live, my church, but it hurts. I can't leave the house. Yeah, gosh, that does sound really awful. But I'm glad we're able to spend some time with you here on the stream. Kitty Winnes says, worst thing is the discrimination. That may be true. Like, it's hard to think of a bad thing about being queer that is, like, inherent to the queerness. I mean, there's just, you know, there are aspects of it that some people don't love, like, you know, reproduction can be a little harder. But I will say it's not just about discrimination. Discrimination isn't the only difficulty. It's probably the biggest one. But also just because there aren't as many of us, that there's always going to be that feeling of being an outsider. And that can be a bad thing, but you can turn it into a good thing. Paul M. says, I recognize Sweet Home Alabama, so I looked it up. The writer also wrote the film, Latter Days. Oh, and the bizarre gay film Kiss the Bride with Tori Spelling. I don't think I've seen that one. I have seen Latter Days. Silas says, I love your channel. Great work. Thank you. And Silas says, I'm Kenyan. I grew up in a village. I didn't know what gay was till I was 19, though I knew it was different from the age of 7. Wow. Silas, that's amazing. When you were 19, how did you find out what gay was? And what was it like to come out in that environment? Sorry, what am I looking at? Kitty Winnes says, if you follow the Kinsey studies, some 30% or more will dabble with bisexuality. I think I wonder about that. I mean, that number, it comes from many decades ago, so I wonder what the numbers are like now. What about Stardew Valley? The gay can date both male and female NPCs. I love Stardew Valley. Oh my god. Kitty says, what percentage of people are gay? Oh, that's a very complicated question. Because, like, how do you answer... Is it like, do you define gay for them, or are they defining it for you? Because there are people, they're like men who have sex with men, but they wouldn't call themselves gay. So, like, you know, what does that number mean? Or that number. What does that term mean? Jody Dallas on Soap called himself gay, but he also had relationships with women, and at one point was going to transition. And, like, he called himself gay. Would you count him as gay? He identified that way, so who are we to say he's not? But... I mean, he's not what you would think of when you think of... Anyway. Masters repeated the study and found the same percentage. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. The feeling of... Yes, Katra, I think you've really nailed it. The feeling of being alone when you belong to multiple minority groups. There is definitely a loneliness that comes with being part of a minority. And when you're a minority of a minority of a minority of a minority, gosh, that just amplifies the loneliness. Marcus says, makes sense. I guess if femininity is something that heterosexual people don't like. Well... That's complicated too. I've seen how many masculine gays are way more liked and accepted than feminine gays. That is sometimes a thing. It's true. There is a lot of misogyny in gay culture. That is a huge problem that needs to be wiped out. Yeah, it's real bad. Like that thing of like, oh, mask for mask, or like no femmes. That is gross, and I don't consider that a part of my gay culture. If someone was to express that, I'd be like, we're done here. I mean, if you think, like, femininity and, like, being a woman is a bad thing, we have nothing to talk about. Patrick says, spaghetti is straight until it gets wet. Me too. No. Silas says they estimate 5 to 10% of the population is gay, but again, it's complicated because the term can mean different things to different people. Because gay is something that we made up. You know, it's a social construct. It's just something that we sort of agreed has meaning, like money, and like what is gay really? Who knows? Paul says, Elliot Freeman, Latter Days and Kiss the Bride share much of the same supporting cast. Oh, he likes to cast his friends. So I've not seen Kiss the Bride. Sophia says, out of 20 guys in my court in the college dorm, 4, including me, were gay. Whew, those are some good odds. I've heard 10%, but also as low as 3, says Kitty. It's funny, my tribes are politics. My tribes are politics, amateur radio, Linux, and being gay. I've been, like, cautious about using the term tribe lately because it's been brought to my attention that, I mean, tribes are a real thing. And it feels a real, like, ethnographic thing. And I worry that, like, it's a bummer for people to hear the word tribe applied to things that are just, like, interests. So I don't know if that's the case or not. Diego says, just arrived. What's up? We are talking about it's just stuff we like. What do you like, Diego? What are things you like? Movies, books, TV, that kind of stuff. No true gay Scotsman, says Elliot. What is that? Oh gosh, Katie Wynne says, we call it the Fish Channel. Lifetime's its real name. Yikes, I've heard, yikes. Yeah, that seems like a little like down on women to use terms like that. Raphael says, the worst part of the community is the hate, the hate inside the community itself. There are some self-loathing queers. It is true. Yeah. Whitney says, I hate the term gay is used as an insult. It's not yeah, it's just a misuse. Catcher says, I once heard an amazing joke. I want to come out of the closet, but the door isn't wide enough for my wheelchair. Yeah, like for people who have different accessibility needs, there is like the obstacles to like accessing gay bars, for example, or you know, using hookup apps are significant. A lot of gay culture is not built with you know, accessibility in mind. Okay, so I need to pause for just a moment here to respond to my friend Raymond, who's going to be joining us in about 45 minutes or so. He's just getting Skype set up. Let's see. Let's see. I'm on my phone. Okay, so he's going to be joining us from his phone. Hi. Yeah, test it out to make sure it works. I'll dial you in about 45 minutes when it's 3 p.m. EST. Okay, so yeah, Raymond's going to be joining us. He's an actor based in Toronto, and he's been on Sewers, but long, long ago, he was on episode 15 of Sewers of Paris. And he's a delightful. Little Kiwi is also what he goes by, and he's super cute. He was on Queer as Folk, like as a background person, but he was also on like a local Toronto version of like youth programming where it was like teenagers introducing music videos. So I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll probably talk about that. Sushi Kissfish says, have you seen the fan comic where Chris from Family Guy and Bart from The Simpsons are in couples counseling dealing with the abuse of their childhood and how it affects their relationship? What? That's amazing and could be awful, but it sounds like a great idea. Gosh. Oh no, he's dialing in now. Oh, no. Okay, well, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring Raymond in just to make sure that it's working. We're gonna bring him in for permanent in a little bit, so. Hello, it looks like everything's working.
Yes?
Yes, and I'm not sure if your audio's good, but I think it's working. So, everybody, like, I'm streaming now, so there's a stream that can hear you, but they can't see you right now. So, everybody say hi to Raymond. And your audio is super low, so I'm glad that we tested this out. Say a few more words.
Well, hello, I'm Canadian, I'm from Toronto, and I think socialism is a progressive idea.
Okay, that works. We've got you there. Okay, it's working. Hi, says Marco, and hi, says Whitney. Yay, and hi, says Elliot. Okay, cool. So that's working, and so we're going to bring you in about half an hour or so. Or, you know what, honestly, if you're good to go now, we can just have you, join now. Let's see. Let me just, I'm going to make some fiddly changes to the chat so that we can actually see you. But there we go. And we're going to get Ray over here.
I'm going to find a way to prop up this damn thing.
So here's a question, James. How do I crop out the little bits at the top and the bottom?
Hold Alt while you drag.
Aha. We did it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to move you up there, and then people are going to be able to see you. And we're going to transition over there. Ta-da! It worked! Hooray. Phew. Okay, so that was Raymond, everybody. Bye. So here we are. So, hi, Ray. Thanks so much for joining us. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Raymond. I'm from Toronto. I'm just chilling today, having an afternoon with my books and my Netflix, and that's amazing.
Yay! And so lots of hellos from the chat. Marco says Toronto. And let's see, what else we got? Hi, Raymond from Elliot. And Whitney says I can't hear him, but I think hopefully you guys can hear him now. Yes, Sophia says, wait, socialism and progressivism aren't the same?
I was just rambling to make up words.
Close enough. So we've been just talking about some of our favorite books and movies and TV and like the stuff that helped us come out. Silas was talking about how Idol, like British Idol in the UK, or is it British Idol or UK Idol? Whatever it is. Pop Idol, that's what they call it, yeah. Was helpful for him. And some good movie recommendations from the 80s and 90s. Sweet Home Alabama, surprisingly. Jeffrey, Torch Song Trilogy. What were your things, Ray, that helped you come out?
Well, it certainly wasn't the Birdcage. No. My family loved that film, and I hated that film, but the fact that they loved it sort of helped me inadvertently, even though I still hate it. Mm-hmm. For me, big things helped me come out. I mean, I think every gay that was a teen in the 90s saw Trick, and I think we liked Trick for what it was. Yep. I don't love it now, but it was great as a 90s kid.
It was, yeah, important at the time. And like, speaking of Tori Spelling, because she was in another movie we were just talking about, but I saw that 99 or 2000 or so, and yeah, it feels nice to be like, oh yeah, we're people, and we can meet each other, and we can like have relationships with each other, and we can have friends that are okay with us being gay. What a relief!
Actually,
go ahead.
Well, I showed one of my baby gays In and Out recently because he'd never seen it, and I remember seeing that when I was in high school with my family who loved it, and I like that film. It has the great Paul Rudnick humor. And it's sort of like it's two different films. There's a film that the gay audiences get the gayisms, and then there's the very broad stuff for the straight crowd. Mm-hmm. But it has a really big heart. It's a really sweet film.
Yeah.
So as milquetoast as it is, that was one that when I was 16 or 15 years old meant a lot to me then.
That's a time I think when a lot of like baby gays are like looking for what are the rules and like how do I gay. And so it can be dangerous because you can latch onto things and be like, oh, this is the one way to be gay. And I mean, that's certainly like one of the things that movie makes fun of is the idea of like, there's a way to be straight and there's a way to be gay and you can test for it and there are signs. And I mean, there's not, it's, you know, you do whatever you like. And Marco likes the term baby gays, OMG baby gays. Kitty says, oh, and Trick, Coco Peru, of course, the delightful Coco Peru and Trick, that iconic, it burns.
It burns. Yes, that's like popular gay vernacular. We all know it burns.
Yep. Katra says, have you seen The Watermelon Woman? What is The Watermelon Woman? And Katie1S wants to know what's on your mug.
Oh. My courage always rises at every attempt to intimidate me. Elizabeth Bennet, Pride and Prejudice.
That's very good. That is like, I mean, that's a gay anthem right there.
Yeah, I'm super. I have a Lizzie Bennet tattoo.
Whoa, that's lovely.
I'm super dedicated to Pride and Prejudice. So
wow, were you? How? Gosh, were you ever in like a theatrical version of it, or like have you ever like?
No, but I've been working on a novel version set on Fire Island among gay men.
That tracks. That would work. I mean, Pride and Prejudice is certainly something that would fit into that community.
I don't even need to change the title. It will work.
And Tomer says, Steve Hayes. Oh, yeah. So we're talking about Steve Hayes, Tired Old Queen at the Movies, who reviews classic Hollywood films. Oh, my God. That sounds fantastic. And Silas loves Giovanni's Room. Yes. Such an important work, Giovanni's Room. I'm writing that one down. I've got my list of recommendations here. Giovanni's Room.
There's a British one called Get Real that's really sweet, too.
Yeah. Oh, those gay movies, like, sometimes they have so much heart, it kind of, like, bursts out of their chest and gets gross. But, yeah, like, those ones that just are so earnest and lovely. Get Real is very much like that.
Yeah.
It has a purity. Raphael, really interested in the photos that you have hung up on your wall. What do you have on your wall?
Oh, this is my autographed Poltergeist poster.
Wonderful.
And these are lobby cards from Poltergeist, and then old images of New York City. And this is Adam Rippon.
Ah, look at that. That is a that is a lot of gay.
He's like I fell in love with him this year, and I think he's just the bee's knees. I think he's wonderful.
He is great. He had some really. I think he's at the Paralympics right now, and I think he had some really lovely things to say about like his visit there. So let's see, what else have we got? Josh says, Pride and Prejudice sounds like another name for Grindr. And Katris says, it was the first movie written and directed by a black lesbian, but what was, Watermelon Woman. First movie written and directed by a black lesbian. I'm totally unfamiliar with it, which is inexcusable. Watermelon Woman.
I need to see this now.
Definitely check that out. And Katie Wyness says, I've seen Get Real. Best line is that mom would have the boys' bollocks for earrings. It's been a long time for me. Gosh, I don't think I've seen it since it came out.
Same.
Oh, and Tomer has good things to say about Beautiful Thing. Also very sweet.
Totally.
And Ophelia's Ghost says, what did you older gays think of Love, Simon? Did you see Love, Simon?
Yes, I did.
What did you think? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm an older gay, so I mean, okay. I can appreciate how much it's meant to people. Mm-hmm. Here's my caveats. I'm just throwing out the world. I thought the scene with Jennifer Garner talking to her son was wonderful. I thought the cast did a good job. Here's something I never want to see in cinema ever again. I never want to see a straight male actor playing a gay character utter the words, "Nobody knows that I'm gay." Like that, I God bless them all for trying, but it's a wonderful baby step. Mm-hmm. But it's not a film for me, you know. Yeah. But if I were 15, I'd probably be losing my mind.
I love that it exists, but I feel the same way. Like, it's so foreign to me growing up, being in high school, an environment where it's like not a big deal. I mean, obviously it's a big deal for him, that what he's going through, but like the circumstances are so different. Like in the last 20 or so years since I was in high school, it's just unthinkable. And I remember like gay men saying that to me when I was in high school. You know, I knew a few like older, like basically gay men who are the age that I am now, saying like, I can't even imagine, because we were starting a gay straight alliance. And they were like, I can't even imagine that happening in, what would that have been? The 1970s.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Just the change is remarkable. And Silas is asking about Looking. Who's watched Looking on HBO? That's another one I haven't seen. That's another one that just felt like it wasn't for me because it was very, it seemed a little serious, and like I just am not like drawn into like gay drama like I am by gay comedy.
Yeah, fair enough, dude.
Yeah. Paul says, Adam Rippon makes me so happy. I will watch my first episode of Dancing with the Stars. Oh, he'll be on Dancing with the Stars? Okay.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, I think like with, you know, what would have inspired me as a kid, seeing Adam Rippon skate this year at the Olympics, I was weeping watching him skate. And seeing that kids out there in the audience or at home were watching a gay man skate like a gay man, unapologetic, not hiding it, not trying to embody any affectations. And there's such power in that it was like he was everything I wished I could have seen in men when I was growing up.
It's true. Yeah. Like I'm thinking back to who I would have had to look up to like that at the time, like, I literally cannot think of Scott Thompson. So Scott Thompson on Kids in the Hall was basically my like power gay role model, as Buddy Cole, like someone who just relished being queer. It was such a revelation for me. And Katra recommends Blue by Derek Jarmond. He wrote and directed when he was blind. I'm putting that on my list as well.
It's just a blue screen the entire film, and you hear audio and music over it. There's nothing to see but a blue screen.
Wow. Okay, I'll definitely look that up. What year? Do you know when about that came out?
It was late 90s, I believe. No, wait. When did he die?
I don't know.
It's the 90s.
It's the 90s. Raphael says, Looking was so good. It's something that as a teen really hyped up the reality of what being gay is, but at a time not realistic. Okay. I guess there will have to come a time when I watch it. But that time is not yet here. Raphael says, Ray's so right. Having a straight play a queer character and also make gay jokes on television is sort of revolting. I don't know about, like, I'm not revolted. I'm just like, okay, enough.
Well, my thing is, like, some of my favorite performances in cinema history have been by non-queer actors in queer roles. I'm not going to say they should never have done it. However, I'm over it. Mm-hmm. Like, they've done great work. I appreciate that. But the time is now, well, it's beyond time, that we can let queer people be queer people in film.
Yes.
One of the crazy things about seeing A Fantastic Woman, from the Chilean film, was that when you have a transgender woman playing a transgender woman, you're not looking to see the transgender woman. You're seeing the woman, the character. Mm-hmm. So there's no like, oh, what a transformation. And what, oh, like,
how brave.
I so believe they were a trans. Like, that's fuck. No, it's a trans. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was watching a person play a character, not an identity.
Kitty says, have you seen Mindy Kaling's new show? Forget the title. I have not. What is Mindy Kaling's new show? And Elliot recommends, if you need some ridiculous camp in your life and you haven't watched Were the World Mine, go with that. Gay musical about Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, so I think we might have similar feelings about Were the World Mine. That's kind of what I was thinking of when I was thinking about movies that have so much heart. It kind of is too much. Like, yeah. That one believes in itself more than I wanted it. I don't like, I'm having trouble articulating why I don't love Were the World Mine. I think it just takes itself so seriously.
Yeah. I had to watch it after a hookup. Like, we hooked up and he was like, I want to show you my favorite movie. And I was like, okay, sure. And then, he puts it on and I was like, oh, this is one of those like direct-to-video gay musicals where everyone's like super cute and hot and they're singing and it's sort of Shakespeare. And I was kind of going like this. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
I have. How
about? Sorry, say that again.
Cruising.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Cruising earlier. About it's controversial though, right? Because like it is kind of a grim portrayal of gay culture. Like it.
Oh yeah.
It's a little scary.
Like, if I were openly gay in 1980 when that film came out, I would have been furious. I'm like, we don't need this right now. But yes. 36 years later, I can be like, this movie is dark and seedy and it's creepy and it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, Whitney asks, who are your famous crushes growing up? I liked the look of Dean Cain on Superman.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he does it for me these days. He's got like weird politics, right?
Yeah. My gay awareness when I was younger, and this wasn't sexual feelings yet, but I loved looking at Josh Brolin in The Goonies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was my first like I like it when you're on the screen, and I wish you were my big brother. But like not, but like also. Mm-hmm. And he'd like work out in the beginning, and I was like,
yeah, yes. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, I mean, obviously, Disney's Robin Hood did a number on me.
Oh my God, the cartoon fox one?
Yeah.
He's so hot, but he's a cartoon fox, but he's hot.
I'm like, yeah, the problems.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm trying to think of like other like characters or celebrities. Like I was like sort of out of the loop on pop culture for a lot of my childhood and teens.
I was really into Ed Harris in The Abyss.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing that when I was 10 or 11 and being like, that's a man. That's a man.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Who are my, like, gosh, I'm trying to think through, like, I don't know, like Brendan Fraser as Tarzan.
Brendan Fraser as Tarzan.
Yeah. But it wasn't like super my type. He was just like, I kind of liked that he was like so dumb and game for whatever was going on. He was a good improv partner, I guess. He was just like saying yes to everything in that movie. So I liked that.
I liked Jason Scott Lee in the live action Jungle Book from the early 90s.
Oh.
When Mowgli was like an early 20-something muscled Tarzan himself. And I was just like, this is a great movie. Let's go back and see it again.
Who like most of my crushes? I will say most of my crushes around that time were like just boys at school. So
I didn't have any boys at school worth having a crush on.
oh, I wouldn't say they were worth having a crush on, but I still had a crush on them. No, that's not true. There were some lovely fellas that I had a thing for. It was mostly boys. It was boys with glasses and books were like turned my head, and there just weren't a lot of those on TV, I guess, at the time.
No,
I'm trying to think of like hot nerds of the '90s. Ooh, I don't know. Something will come to me.
Like I had a crush on Archie from the Archie comics.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Kitty Lynch says Waffle House guy, actor from Love Simon, is gay. Follow him on Instagram. He's great. And Torden says Sense8 was good. Has a trans actor played by trans character played by a trans actor.
Yeah, Jamie, amazing. Jamie Clayton.
Okay. And Paul M says Mindy Kaling show is Champions, about two straight brothers raising a sassy gay teen. Oh, okay, I don't hate that.
I could like that.
Raphael says the revolting part isn't the part of the hetero playing a gay character, but after he did the movie and went on TV, he said he gets the gay and proceeds to make gay jokes. Nope. That's not how any of this works.
No.
Ophelia's Ghost says, have you read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secret of the Universe? It's going to be adapted into a movie. It's hauntingly beautiful. I literally cried every chapter. It's not tragic or grim. It's set in the 80s, and both main characters are Mexican-Americans and talk about all the machismo in the gay Latino community. Okay, I'm definitely writing that down. Wait, what's the title? Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secret of the Universe. That's such a great title. For the secret of the universe. That sounds fantastic. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what that was. And Whitney says Robin Hood, yes.
Right?
Jordan says, yes. Woke up a whole generation of furries. Elliot says Robin Hood affection explains the whole thing from the Feywild. Oh, yeah, sure. It begins to explain it. And Katie 1S says furries, I find that interesting, but not interesting enough to don a... Oh, you don't need a costume. You just do a drawing. That's all you need. Katie 1S says Brendan Fraser was cute then. Oh, what about Brendan Fraser in The Mummy? I think I liked his outfit more than I actually liked him. Like, he just had that very cute, like, 20s explorer garb that I'm very into.
I was very into Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom because he gets all shirtless once they're in the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And the part where he, like, turns on them because he drinks the blood of Kali and gets brainwashed.
Oh, right.
Gave me very specific feelings of, like, I'm scared of you, but I'm attracted to how you're scary.
Yeah, it's that very strange, inscrutable connection between fear and arousal.
Like, yeah. And that was a first for me, being like, why am I imagining, like, him tying me up?
Yes, what's happening to me? You know, it's so many things bring me back to that line. There's an episode of Community where someone says, I have the weirdest boner right now. And it's an experience that so many people have when they're like, wait, this is my thing? Kitty Lynch says Dolph Lundgren in Masters of the Universe or the Last Starfighter actor. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren was so hot as He-Man.
That's, yes. Yeah, that outfit. I mean, there you go. He's got like all the bondage on him. Gosh, that's a weird movie. Have you seen the documentary about, there's two, about the company that made Masters of the Universe and the Apple and Runaway Train.
Boogaloo.
Yes, Electric Boogaloo.
Golden Globus
Yes.
one. Yeah.
So there's one about them, and then at the same time, they made one about themselves and like rushed it through and got it out onto the market like 2 months before the one about them came out.
Child.
Yeah, but it's such a good documentary about like how all those like bananas 80s films got made.
The Apple is one of the greatest films of all time.
Oh,
it is
gosh.
endlessly quotable and so funny. I actually got to meet Catherine Mary Stewart a couple years ago, and I was like, I love you. We do Apple screenings, and we all wear BIMs, and we love you. And she was like, oh my God. It was her first movie, The Poor Dear. She was so excited about it.
I've never seen her do like an interview or talk about it or anything. Like she's like, continuing to be, she's like a working actor. And like there's such a cult following for that film, The Apple. And Sushi Kissfish says, yes, love The Apple. It's so good. But like there's such a cult following. Just imagine how like bananas it would be, like how crazy people would go if she showed up at a screening to like introduce it or something.
I would die.
Yeah.
I would full on die. Because she's so cute too. She's such a gorgeous woman.
Let's see. Elliot says young me was totally into Dr. Bashir from DS9. Lanky nerds. Torrid says, oh, Bashir, arrogant but so cute. And Katra says, I got a crush on Alex Furo and TJ from MCGA. I don't know what that is. My cute girl animals? What? No, that's not what it is. Alex Furo and TJ. What is MCGA? And Katie Wynette says, I'll second Bashir. Everyone loves Bashir. Oh, yeah, and Torden, Elliot says to Torden, the actors for him and Garrick push for them to be bi. I have read that Andrew, I've forgotten his name, the guy who played Garrick, wanted his character to be pansexual, and the writers just would never put that in the script, so he just couldn't use it. Oh, it's Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard. Wow, I'm not familiar with that. What is Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard?
Never heard of her.
Wow. But what a title. We've had a lot of Asgard in the house lately because James, my partner, is playing God of War. And so we've got some Norse mythology going on in that. And I read like a year ago Neil Gaiman's book of Norse mythology. And so James is like, is this God this? And is this Valhalla this? And it may not shock you to hear that like Neil Gaiman's interpretation of the mythology and God of War's interpretation do not entirely match up.
It's not the same thing.
Let's see. Torden says, so Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard is a young adult book series by Rick Riordan. Yeah, he came up in the last chat. I'm going to put him on my list, even though I put him on my last list. Riordan. Because a lot of people are talking about... Oh, Whitney says Milo from Atlantis, The Lost Empire. Speaking of lanky cute. Yep.
Cute nerd. The glasses worked.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Raphael says, I remember watching Zathura starring Josh Hutcherson. The time I was in the 3rd grade, I remember really wanting to be his friends. Nowadays, I understand I had a crush on him. And Torden says, main characters of undefined sexuality falls for a gender-fluid trans shapeshifter. Okay, and Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard. That sounds really good. And Raphael says, have you read Boy Meets Boy from David Levithan? Is it Levithan or Levitan? Levithan? Anyway. Boy Meets Boy.
Yeah.
So I haven't read that, but that was, I know, Ray, like, you are, like, very into gay literature, and you've got a lot of book recommendations.
Yes. Almost all Ethan Mordden. I think Ethan Mordden needs to be read by gay men as fast as they can possibly get their hands on the books, because they are the most loving. He depicts gay life as family and as friendships that are worth getting into. And his books changed my entire feeling about being a gay man. I love him. And I love Larry Duplessis as well, who is wonderful. And he offers a take on the black gay male perspective, which is so refreshing in this white cis gayness we usually get as the main narratives. So love them. I'm also reading, I just read Armistead Maupin's memoir, Logical Family, and it's wonderful. Super, super good.
There's there's a documentary about Armistead that came out recently, and I can't remember the title, but it's just a lovely documentary, and it's so sweet, and it's not like hard hitting or anything. It's just like following him around to readings and talking about his life and his time in San Francisco. It's just such a lovely, like, hour and a half book report on Armistead's life, and it just feels so nice. I don't love Tales of the City as much as others do. Like, I think part of it is just that Marianne just feels like she is resisting so many things that I want. Like, she's just such a like, oh, this is weird and I don't like this and I want to complain. And I'm like, just go for it, Marianne. And I just find her frustrating.
That's fair. Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got? We've got a yes. Elliot says yes to Milo. It's basically Daniel Jackson from Stargate. Yep. Patrick says Mike Horton on Days of Our Lives. Totally unfamiliar with him. And Kitty Lynch says from Young Avengers, Wiccan and Hulkling. And Sophia's recommends, speaking of young adult books, there was David in Everworld by K.A. Applegate. Okay, I'm going to write that one down. Everworld. And who else do we have? Oh, Billy Zane and Jada Pinkett Smith from Tales of the Crypt really did it for me when I was young, says Susie Fish. That is a hard name to say. Susie.
Fucking Demon Knight? That's hilarious.
And Ty says Stephen Merchant for the lanky cute vote. That is, yeah, I think that's a good one. Alex is gender. Katra says Alex is gender. I think you mean fluid. It came out as glued, but gender fluid and trans. And TJ was the son of a former slave who died in the American Civil War. Wow. What? Wow. Okay. And Silas says if you watch the French film When You're 17. What is that? I'm not familiar with that one. It probably has a different American title, English title. What's 17 in French? Oh, I've forgotten my French. When one has 17 years old. Young Avengers are decent. Young Avengers, the only superhero team with a token straight. Since Jean Grey was here appropriately. Netflix. Oh yeah, and Katie Wyness says Netflix is producing a reboot of Tales of the City.
Yes.
With Laura. Oh no, what's her name?
Yeah, Laura Linney.
With Laura Linney and Olympia coming back. I'm so curious about that. And Whitney says, have you seen Be Like Others? Iranian men undergoing sex change and what it's like. Wow. Okay. I haven't. Be Like Others, huh? A documentary or narrative? Others. Being 17 is the title in English. No, I don't know.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. French film, Being 17. It does, just from the title, a gay coming-of-age film called Being 17. I mean, I can already imagine exactly what it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like, very Edge of 17. It's that gay trope that was such a thing in the 80s and 90s. I've got a secret, and
nobody knows.
Yeah, and we've seen
montage.
We've seen a lot of those, but maybe this one is different. Second, the Young Avengers recommendation. I've identified a lot with Wiccan as a gay Jewish teen in the city, says Tomer. And Guy in Yellow says, thoughts on the new series of unfortunate events. So I love those books. And the show, I found good. I like the show. I miss Jim Carrey as Count Olaf.
His energy was insane.
Yeah. Oh, and Ophelia said, did you see the new Janelle Monáe short movie? It's on YouTube. What an iconic way to come out. Here's what I've seen of that, is I've seen animated GIFs of it. But I haven't watched the entire thing yet.
I'm not allowed to watch it. I'm supposed to watch it with a friend of mine, but I've played her album constantly for the last 24 hours, and it's the greatest thing I've heard in forever. I'm dying and living.
Wonderful. I remember when she had that, this was 10, 15 years ago, what was the Tightrope song?
Oh, Tightrope, yeah.
So I remember when that song happened. I mean, she's in this beautiful tux, and her dancing is incredible, and just the way that the film is shot, the video is shot, is gorgeous. I remember when that came out, it was like, this person has a lot going on, and I'm excited to see what more happens. And I hope they become really super famous, because I don't want them to just fade into obscurity and for people to be like, oh, it's too queer, I don't like it.
I know. Her statement in Rolling Stone too was so freaking empowering. I was as I was walking the city yesterday, playing the album, thinking about what she'd said, and I was like, first of all, the album has summer-ready musical beats. It's a fun album, but the lyrics are so cut right to the heart, emotional. I was getting all misty, and I was like, you just came to save the world, Janelle.
We are always looking for songs that we can use for lip syncs in our Queens of Adventure show, where we have drag queens playing D&D. There's lip syncs interspersed throughout. So we may work in some Janelle Monáe in the next...
Easily done. Yeah.
Okay, great. Katie Wyness says, I watched the second season of Unfortunate Events. Count Olaf, still up to his old tricks. I mean, there is a character who does not get an arc. Count Olaf does not have a redemption. He is just chewing the scenery evil, which is super fun. I mean, that's why I like Jim Carrey's, because he was so elastically, insanely, strangely weird with his evil. And I don't feel like Doogie Howser got his teeth into the scenery quite as deep. There's a gay character in the new movie Truth or Dare. Huh. Okay. Movie Truth or Dare. Nope. I was trying to conjure in my mind what Truth or Dare the movie is, and the first thing that came to me was Rampage, which is not what that is at all, because in my head that's King Kong versus Godzilla, and for some reason that turned into Truth or Dare in my head. Inaccurate. What is Truth or Dare?
Truth or Dare. Okay, so this is the new teen slasher Blumhouse horror film where kids get the demonic game of Truth or Dare, and if you don't do the Truth or Dare, you die. Okay.
I mean, that is a titillating premise. And there's Kitty says there's a gay character in the movie. Okay. I mean, here's My feeling about like all those like Blumhouse movies is they're a little too stressful for me. So like just freaks me out too much what's going on. Like Truth or Dare was horrible, says Mike. Oh no. And Katie Wynessa's first thing that came to mind for some reason was Madonna. I mean, the real Truth or Dare. And Bob says, have you seen Netflix's Big Mouth? Any thoughts on the episode where Andrew questions sexuality? I'm not familiar with that. There are so many Netflix shows happening right now.
Big Mouth is funny. It's
Okay.
a look at going through puberty, but it's geared towards adults. And yeah, there's the whole episode where he thinks he might be gay because he keeps getting like inopportune boners. But it's and he likes his friend. They get along really well, so maybe they're gay. It was cute. I mean, it's all very tongue in cheek, but it's worth watching. I mean, I've never seen it sober, but apparently it's still funny. But
I just saw there's like a WikiHow article about how to tell if you're gay, and it was not bad. Like that could be terrible, but it was like a nicely written piece about like there's really no way to know, and it's up to you, and you get to decide. But like helping you understand like your feelings and impulses and things like why am I getting this boner right now. But there was just this really funny image that like taken out of context was amusing. It showed like a guy like cute, like, you know, that WikiHow style, like sort of anime style, like very simple drawings. He's just like typing away on his computer and like another guy walks by and he's looking at him and there's a caption about like plenty of straight people have momentary crushes on people of the same gender. And I was like, yeah, but also bisexual is a thing too. So like,
yeah.
They could also be that. Katie Wyness says, Netflix is the 800-pound gorilla of video production lately. Oh, and Whitney says, My Beautiful Laundrette. Oh, my God. What a gorgeous film.
So sweet. So, yeah.
And Silas recommends My Beautiful Laundrette, the book. I did not know it was a book. Huh. I'm putting that book on my list. Oh, boy. Beautiful.
I'll throw out Cult of Chucky as an unexpectedly intersectional horror film.
Really?
That came out last year. Yeah. Cult of Chucky it's the seventh in the Child's Play franchise. And it has, you know, marginalized identities being fleshed out in nuanced characters on the screen. There's a disabled girl in a wheelchair who is shown as a sexually active sexual being. There's the gay Latino man that works in the mental hospital. And it's all this stuff. And it's one of those neat ways of showing characters that can be anything other than, you know, white cis hets, but still be organic parts of the story.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
Cult of Chucky.
I would not have expected that to be a complex gay text, but I'm willing to go with it. Wow. Okay. Fascinating. That brings up an interesting question of like movies that have had like kind of not exactly token, but like gay characters off to the side where you wouldn't have expected them. Like one thing that comes to mind is, do you know this movie? It is not well regarded. Nobody remembers this film. Down with Love.
Hey, I love that movie.
Okay.
That movie is hysterical and it's stylish and it's fantastic. And yes.
Okay. So I'm a big fan. I don't know how well it holds up, but it's like, so basically what it is it's like made in late 90s, early 2000s, and it's like screwball 60s comedy. The humor
Doris
is...
Day, Rock Hudson.
Exactly. So like one of those like mistaken identities, slamming doors, I love her, but she doesn't love me, and who's keeping a secret from who kind of movies. It's got David Hyde Pierce, and it's got Ewan McGregor, and it's got Renee Zellweger, and it's got Jack Plotnick. Oh, yes. Oh, and it's got, wait, is that, I always forget, no, it's not. It's the actress who plays Seven of Nine.
Oh, Jerry Ryan.
Yes.
She's in it too. Yeah.
Jerry Ryan. But it's got Jack Plotnick in there in a very brief role as like the very over sassy art director or something like that, who's got like the mincing walk and like he says something that is kind of a gay subtext and everybody looks at each other shocked. Yeah, it's super cute. Not a complex film, but adorable.
Yes, I like that one.
Guy in Yellow says, what was the best sleeper gay hit this year? Huh. So, I mean, everybody's talking about Call Me By Your Name. And of course, like Love, Simon is the big one. So I saw a film, and BPM, I think, was the big one at like a lot of festivals.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So I saw one, and now I can't remember the name. It was a documentary from China about a woman confronting her mother. Her mother's a lesbian, and really not a big part of her life. And it was about her confronting her mother about why her mother never talked about, like, why her mother had her, and why her mother, like, had her in an environment where she couldn't take care of her, and why they never talked about her mother being a lesbian. And it is, like, I thought it was going to be one of those, like, surveillance footage documentaries where it's just like, put the camera down and see what happens. But it weaves this, like, arc of being a queer woman in 1970s China that I was like, I had no idea I needed this story. But apparently I did. And it is just beautiful. Let's see. Katra says, I've got to go. Thank you for joining, Katra. And Sushi Kiss Fish says, I always really enjoy the tension in Apartment Zero. I don't know that one. Apartment Zero. Apartment. I'm running out of space on my pad here. Since Doris Day holds down with love holds up. Since Doris Day holds up, down with love holds up. Says Todd Cedars. I agree with that.
And the music is so much fun, and the costumes. Yeah. It's a big fun lark of a film.
Yeah. Ophelia goes. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm being. Yeah.
Ophelia says, Everything Sucks is on Netflix. It's a comedy series in the 90s. It actually feels like it was made back then. It's the most realistic lesbian realization. It's written with such love and delicacy. Huh. Everything Sucks. That's quite a title.
I like.
Here's my problem with Netflix right now is, like, it keeps recommending the same stuff I don't want to me. So it's always like, here, watch this thing, this Netflix original series. And I'm like, I have a feeling they're a good Netflix original series, but I don't like... The cooking show nailed it. Like, I find it really hard to watch because people just, like, laughing at each other and making fun of each other's inability to do things. I'm like, I want Great British Bake Off.
Yeah.
I want people helping each other.
Yeah.
Katie Wyness says, only 2 films I've seen so far this year is Black Panther and A Wrinkle in Time. I mean, if you're going to see 2 movies, that's pretty good.
I love both of them.
Charles D says, it was British comedies, mostly Are You Being Served and Keeping Up Appearances. Mr. Humphrey's Camp Mama's Boy, Introduction to Queer Characters. And the son Sheridan in Keeping Up... Sheridan!
Oh! Yeah.
With
his roommate, Tarquin.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's a documentary, and I can't remember the name. I think it's called something like That's Camp or something like that. It's on YouTube in several chunks. And it's just a documentary about British camp from, like, the 60s up till today. It's great fun, and it's a great, like, if you don't get British camp or, like, who the figures are, it introduces you to everybody and their catchphrases, some of which still do not make sense to me. Like, there was one guy, I can't remember his name, whose catchphrase was, shut that door. Like, he'd tell a joke, people would laugh, there'd be some rolling laughter, and he'd look to the side and he'd go, shut that door. And, like, people would, like, burst out with Why? Why is that a catchphrase? I don't know. Maybe it's a British thing.
It's a British thing.
Let's see. What else? Whitney says...
Go Whitney.
Yes. So Katie Wyness says, happy I didn't pay money to see Shape of Water. And Whitney says, Shape of Water equals how to get a UTI. I
liked Shape of Water.
I haven't seen it. There's so much I haven't seen.
Here's what I thought was cool about it. Shape of Water manages to address classism, sexism, racism, homophobia, ableism, the Me Too movement of power discord and sexual harassment within the fantasy framework. And I thought that's, I didn't think it was the most amazing film of the year. I think people that don't see fantastic films or genre films thought it was more amazing than the rest of us who take in fantasy films regularly do. Mm-hmm. It tackled huge human issues and managed to integrate them into an organic story that was quite moving. So,
okay. I mean, and I like the director, and the premise is intriguing to me. And just like I've seen a lot of written about the cinematography of it. And it just looks like such a gorgeous movie. And Silas says, I like Shape of Water too. Oh, and Tomer says, was the Chinese documentary Small Talk? Yes, that was the title, Small Talk.
Small Talk.
Yeah, so good. So good. And Elliot says, asked Charles D., who's expressed interest in Are You Being Served? Are you free? Elliot says, the earnestness of the storyline surprised me for that show. Wait, for which show? To Sophia's about... Sorry, I've got a lot of chat. Oh, Pushing Daisies. Yes, weird gay subtext like The Wizard of Oz. Or it could just be Lee Pace making it queer. Yeah, and going further back to before Pushing Daisies, Lee Pace and a bunch of other wonderful folks were on the show called Wonderfalls that sadly didn't even last one season.
Oh, right.
When I watch that show, I feel like I'm hanging out with my friends. It is so good. The premise was this woman who just graduated. I think she graduated with a philosophy degree, and she's like, now what? And so she's just like underemployed, working in like a gift shop and super bored. And she's also very cynical, and she just hates everything. And then all of a sudden, inanimate objects start talking to her and giving her orders. And when she doesn't do what they say, bad things happen. But if she obeys their orders, good things happen. And so she's trying to figure out her own life while also trying to figure out like if she's going crazy or if something actual magic is happening. And it's such a great show. It's got, oh God, it's got so many good people that I love whose names I can't remember. But they're like the people that pop up when I see them. And I'm like, oh, good, it's you. It's got the woman who played Christina in Mommy Dearest.
Diana Scarlett.
Yes. She plays the mom. She is so good. She's like one of those like she's a very rich woman who doesn't have time for anything, and she's got such an attitude, and she's so condescending about it. She's having a sewed, dear. It's short for episode. Let's see. Oh, and Brian Fuller. Yes, Brian Fuller made those shows, and he was a gay man. Although, and it had a lesbian. Her sister was a lesbian, and I can't remember her name either, but she was in the version of Company with Neil Patrick Harris that was filmed a couple of years ago.
In the round. Yes.
Yeah.
The PBS one.
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
It's got who else? It's got this is a super like niche character, but it's got this woman who does a lot of work with like on other gay shows. She was in the movie Straight Jacket, not the Joan Crawford one, but the one from like 2007 or so. And I totally cannot remember her name. But anyway, she was in it. Oh, and it's got the actress who played Kaylee from Firefly.
I love her.
She is wonderful. And she plays like a villain. So it is fascinating.
Did y'all watch Star Trek Discovery?
So I couldn't watch it because it was on that CBS app and it didn't work with any of our devices. So I've just had to avoid any conversation about Discovery, which has been impossible.
It was the greatest show. I'm like dying. So good. It's in your face with its queerness and gayness, and women of color are in the forefront and they're taking charge of starships. And I was just like, this is the future liberals want.
Okay. Well, I think it might be on Hulu or Netflix now. I think I heard they were moving it to one of the other services. So, I mean, we just couldn't watch it on that CBS thing. And I tried everything to trick Netflix into thinking that I was in the UK because everywhere else in the world you could just watch it on Netflix.
Well, it's worth seeing when you get to it because every episode is produced like a feature film. Like it looks unbelievable.
I mean, we watched the pilot, and that's where I got frustrated with the service because it kept like buffering and freezing, and I was so. But the pilot did look gorgeous and did set up a lot of interest. Let's see. Daniel asks if we watched Boy Neon from last year. I don't know that at all. Boy with an I, Neon. What is that one about? It sounds superhero-y. I want to believe it's like a boy who discovers he has a superpower to just like glow hot pink.
Neon.
Ty says, Wonderfalls gives me life. Love everything from Brian Fuller. And let's see. Whitney loves Mommy Dearest. It's quite good, says Daniel. There's a lot that's queer about Pushing Daisies, says Tomer. Kristen Chenoweth, Brian Fuller, Ellen Greene. Yes. Oh, gosh.
Ellen Greene.
Yes. Pushing Daisies, says Sophia's. I'm bad with words. Earnest would be the best way to describe it. Yeah. The right amount of earnest and also kind of like self-mocking, but just at the right amount.
Yes.
There was an amazing interview with Neil Patrick Harris on NPR, says Whitney. Check it out. Okay, we'll look that up. Oh, yes, and Katie Finneran was the lesbian sister in Wonderfalls. That's right, Katie Finneran. Fantastic.
Broadway stalwart.
Katie Wyness says, speaking of Star Trek, remember Merritt Buttrick? I think he's the reason why gays with curly hair always make my head turn. Wait, who's Merritt Buttrick on Star Trek? He's got quite a name. Katie Wyness says, get a VPN. I do Snarf music off YouTube. I set up a VPN in Germany, no issues. So I tried that. I did but I set up with like a free VPN, and Netflix could still tell that I was in the US.
We're on you.
They knew. They just knew. I don't know how, but they just knew. Can't remember her name, says Charles, but Kaylee, actress from Serenity, was also... What? She was the mean girl in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV series?
She was.
What? Wow. And she was on Space Cases on Nickelodeon in my childhood with super gay rainbow hair. Yeah. Oh. Merritt Buttrick played Kirk's son in Star Trek 3. Okay. Yeah, that's a little too curly for me. That's like to the point where I'm like, okay, are you in Star Trek or are you like Pippin? Because like that is just like, it looks like you're wearing a wig, frankly. That like very blonde, very like ramen noodle curly hair. It was just, it was more than I could take. But if you like it, good for you. He was also in Square Pegs. Huh. Okay.
Square.
Boy Neon is a guy who paints himself in neon paint and makes sexy dances for other guys for money on the web. Okay. It's about a rural boy wanting to be a fashion designer. That sounds great.
That's sweet.
The movie's quite touching, says Danielle. And Saturday Church is a beautiful gem, says Ivan. So I've seen the trailer for that. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks amazing. The actor in it looks fantastic. I've just seen a few little clips for it. But yeah, that's another one about like a a young gay coming of age story, but in a way that's not like the cis white boy from the suburbs, you know, right. The story that we've seen infinity number of times.
Did you ever see the Xavier Dolan film Tom at the Farm?
No, that's not familiar to me. Tom at the Farm.
It's based on a Canadian play, and it's a Montreal boy whose boyfriend dies, and he goes back to the boyfriend's hometown in small rural Quebec for the funeral, and quickly finds out that the boy was not out to his mother. It's a single mother. The husband is either dead or gone. And there's the older brother there who is a psychopath. But he's like also kind of sexy.
Okay.
They get this sort of thing going where like he wants to leave, but he doesn't want to leave the brother. And there's this weird sort of dance they do where you don't know if the brother is acting out with repressed sexuality or repressed homophobia. But either way, this boy needs to leave this farm immediately and won't and can't. It's a very Hitchcockian, dark suspense gay drama that I highly recommend.
That does sound great. There's very little, like, you know, like gay movies tend to be like the coming of age. And so there's less to find of like thrillers and tension. So when that happens, it's always like, what was the one people were recommending last time? Rift, Icelandic film. That's sort of like a stuck in the middle of the tundra movie.
Yes.
And Katie Wyness has to cut out until next time. Goodbye. So join us next week. I'm doing another stream next week, the 6th. So that's going to be my next one. And the theme for that one, I think, is going to be drag. So join us next week for another stream, same time. But bye, Katie Wyness. Thank you for joining. Goodbye. And wait, sorry. What was, Ray, what was the name of that one that you just recommended?
Tom at the Farm. Or in French, Tom à la ferme.
Oh, okay. Whenever I know it's not the case, but when I hear a film with a French title, I instantly assume, oh boy, this is going to be some pretentious art stuff. Not necessarily, because that sounds
a little
okay. There was in college. In college, there was someone in my life who introduced me to a lot of foreign film, and his tastes tended to veer towards the
art house.
The art house, yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, Whitney says, what about MTV's Undressed? Do you remember that one?
I'm aware of it. I never actually watched it.
Okay. So it was basically like a soap opera. I'm going to say like, James, what would you say for Undressed? Like 97, 98 to 2000. So it was basically a soap opera split up into 3 stories per episode. And it would like jump back and forth between the stories within each episode. They were never connected. But it would just be some like sexy, flirty tale, and sometimes it would be gay and sometimes not. But it was more gay than most TV at the time. And the acting was, you know, soap opera. So not always the most nuanced. Oh, it was 99 to 2002, says Whitney. And James says it was more porn without genitals.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It was like a softcore TNA.
Yes, yeah, the acting level he says was more point. But yeah, it was a lot of like, I'm gonna take my show with like very late '90s incidental music. Yeah,
Right.
and Whitney says it like 2 a.m. It would air like late at night. Oh, Hard Paint is the name of the thing. Boy Neon's the character, and Hard Paint is the name of the film. Hard Paint, Boy Neon. Yeah, but there were a lot of like queer storylines in that one. So bless MTV for making that happen with their softcore porn. And Silas recommends Animal Kingdom, which I'm not familiar with, has a very hot dude. Oh, Animal Kingdom. Wait, that's not a Netflix one, is it? And Elliot says Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, was on Undressed.
Hot.
Green Ranger. That would have been. Was that James? Was he part of the original cast?
No,
Okay.
he came in season 2 or 3.
Okay.
As I flash back to like 1995.
Okay. Yeah. You're digging into your encyclopedic knowledge of like every ranger because there's been a lot.
There were a lot of rangers.
Charles D says, "What are your thoughts on Please Like Me?" I was able to watch series 1 through 3. I think there are 5 series. So I like Please Like Me, but it was very hard for us to find. Like I watched the first few episodes and then it like jumped around like Netflix's or streaming services. That's the Australian one.
Yeah.
And I love like when you see gay people being awkward and uncomfortable, because so often the trope is gay people are super sassy and always have something to say, and they're like super fashionable and they got a great look. And yeah, that's true that we have gifts for aesthetics, but also a lot of gay culture is feeling awkward. So it's a real relief to see that.
Yes.
And Kitty asks, have you heard of Holland, the first openly gay K-pop artist? No. That sounds amazing.
I love K-pop.
What's the one that's like really taking over right now that everyone's talking about? Luna?
That boy band that's like
So there's a band with a bunch of women called Luna that's doing this like gimmick where they're like introducing one new member a month.
What?
Yeah, it's
Really?
like huge. There's like tons and tons of members at this point. And they each get their own like music video. And I think there's some like queer drama where like one of the women likes another one of the women. I can't remember. I maybe just like headcanoning that. I can't recall. But somebody was telling me about it on another stream about like everyone is getting very invested. All the like younger gays are very invested in Luna right now. But Holland, K-pop.
Holland. I will look for that.
And Degrassi's had gay content since Degrassi Junior High. That's true.
Oh
wait.
Yeah, totally.
And Tomer says Boy Neon and Hard Paint are different films. I just looked it up because I thought the same thing. Boy Neon's from 2015. Hard Paint from this year. Oh, are they just like really similar movies? Interesting. And the Green Ranger, Elliot says, came mid-season 1. I see. And Silas says, I'm still recommending The Danish Girl if you haven't watched it. We talked about The Danish Girl on the last stream, actually, about how, like, from what I hear, I haven't seen it. I hear a lot of enthusiasm for it, but also frustration because it's another film where a cis actor is playing a trans character. And it's just frustrating when that happens.
Like, I'm skipping that new Matt Bomer project. I'm not freaking, no.
Is he playing trans in a new project?
Oh, he's playing a transgender prostitute in a new film coming. It's just don't Matthew Bomer, no.
He is in the new, in the Boys in the Band that's on Broadway right now, right?
Yes, which I'm dying to go see. That's my agenda. Yes.
It looks like a great cast, and Joe Manganiello doing the directing. He did so Joe, like famous theater director. He did like Wicked among other things. Oh, and Book of Mormon. He did a show here in Seattle a couple of months ago, and I can't remember the name now. About a family that comes together on Thanksgiving. And they're all damaged in some way. The whole family, like there's a daughter who is, she's just broken up with her lesbian partner. And so she's having difficulty about that. And she's also having like an illness, like she has this mystery illness where she can't keep food down. The mother is, I can't remember what her deal was. The father lost his job for reasons they don't want to talk about. There's someone else is having marital problems, and they're all like they all have something they want to fight about, but no one wants to fight. And so there's this like undercurrent of tension and horribleness under the surface.
Okay.
And it's an extremely difficult play to watch. With this fascinating set where it's like 2 levels, so you can see everybody upstairs and downstairs, and they can't hear each other, but the audience can hear them. Great show, and now I can't remember the title because I always forget everything. Calamity Jane is an accidentally sapphic classic, says Ophelia's Ghost. What is it like? Calamity Jane, like the movie? It's like an older movie, right? My Secret Love's No Secret Anymore is a song from that one. It says Opera Scene. No queer subtext to that. Daniel says there's a movie called Boy Neon, but the character of the other movie is also called Boy Neon, and in Brazil, boy is slang for gay in the gay scene. Okay, oof.
That's like an Inception level meta-ness.
Yes, that is complicated. And Charles says Jim Parsons is playing straight again in a movie about having a trans child. Oh, okay.
Yeah, with
interesting.
Claire Danes as the wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
No.
Necessarily. Oh, The Humans. Yes, says Paul M. He's written several plays with gay protagonists. Yes, The Humans was the title of that film, play. Really stressful to watch. Tomer says, totally similar movies, both Brazilian, about young gay men who paint themselves with neon paint and dance. So weird that there's like multiple ones of those. Difference is Hard Paint is about a cam boy, and Boy Neon does it in person. Huh. And boy is also the word for cattle.
It was about things on Earth and, Deep Impact and like Armageddon and Dante's Peak and Volcano and this boy on the cam and this boy in person. And
yes, like Ants and A Bug's Life.
Ants and A Bug's Life.
Silas says there's a great book by Stephen Zweig called Confusion. I'm not familiar with that. Oops. Confusion by Stephen Zweig.
Bye.
And Doris Day in Boy Drag for most of the movie. Oh, for Calamity Jane. She sort of bowled over the femness of an actress who arrives in town. Ooh, okay. It's a bit like, what's the one? Oh, no, I am thinking of Calamity Jane. I was confusing that with the unsinkable Molly Brown.
Oh, Debbie Reynolds.
Yes, different movie with brash women, with staunch women. Brassy, indeed, yeah. When I saw that, like, just out of college with some friends, and they kept calling it the unthinkable Molly Brown. So now, of course, I can't say the unsinkable Molly Brown without first accidentally saying the unthinkable Molly Brown. The series London Spy and Eyewitness, Ivan is recommending, and Paul says Paul Rudd and Steve Coogan are playing a gay couple in a film coming out this summer called Ideal Home. Huh, okay. Paul Rudd I like Steve Coogan. And of course, Paul Rudd. Who can find anything to object with Paul Rudd?
We've all loved Paul Rudd since he was our stepbrother we fell in love with.
Exactly. He's a good crush. Paul Rudd is a crush that I can endorse.
Yeah.
And Whitney says, what do you think about the book This Book Is Gay? I don't know that book by Juno Dawson. What is it? What is This Book Is Gay about? And Oprazine says, Unsinkable Molly Brown has staunchness, but not much gay subtext. I mean, it's one of those ones that you just have to, like, read it all in, right? You have to be like, I've decided this is queer. So it is.
Yeah. Well, did we talk about Rope before, you and I?
I think we did, yeah.
Because I love that, they weren't allowed to have the gay subtext be as prominent as it should have been. So Hitchcock cast 2 queer actors and was like, run with it.
Yeah.
So the queerness is there in their inherent, innate queerness.
Right. Just by their very presence alone.
Like, hi, I'm gay.
Yes. This is a gay movie now. This is a gay room. I just walked into a restaurant. Now it's a gay restaurant. Calamity Jane's from 1958, says Ophelia's Ghost. Doris Day plays a Western butch who falls in love with a femme. That's, what? Obviously, in 1958, they can't play that subtext too close to the surface. I would love to see a remake of Calamity Jane where it is just like, these are those 2 lesbian farmers you've been hearing about. Cause you know how this is kind of a thing that like there's a lot of like lesbian farming going on right now. So like I just want like modern day lesbian love story, Calamity Jane characters, but in present day in like the American South.
Oh, did y'all see Only God's Country?
Remind me what that is.
It's the foreign film about the gay farmhand that came out it's on Netflix. Well, it's on Netflix in Canada.
Yes, it's like set in Scotland or something.
Was it Scotland? I thought it had subtitles.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of a Scottish film where, like, the guy's dad, the farmer, is, like, dying, and the son has to take over the farm, and there's a caravan of Roma, and they, like, hires one of them to work on the farm.
And they're, like, in love.
Yes, but no, the love that dare not speak its name.
It's wonderful. It's moving, and it kind of gives, not to spoiler alert, but, like, it doesn't end with us killing ourselves and being beaten and dying.
Right.
It's always a bonus.
A bit more Morris than I don't know than Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
So Calamity Jane, yes. This book is gay is kind of a guidebook for young queer people. Oh, that sounds great.
Oh,
we definitely need that. This book is gay. So I had a book like that when I was in high school, and I can't remember the title, but it was written in the 90s. It just had, like, So You're Gay, basically, was the title. And then there was another one from the 70s in the school library, called Gay, What You Need to Know. And it was not helpful.
No, right.
But, I mean, I guess I was glad to see a historical context. And Silas says, have you seen The Night Larry Kramer Kissed Me? I want to hear what you think of whether I could see it. Or Normal Heart. Like, The Night Larry Kramer Kissed Me, I'm not... I don't think I know that.
I saw someone do it once, and it was monologues. Normal Heart is a work of art that needs to be seen by everybody. If you can see it on stage, that's preferable. But the TV movie was quite good for what it was, even though it literalized some of the monologues into actual events, as opposed to hearing someone talk about something. You saw the whole thing play out itself, which is a different beast, but it's a magnificent work.
I find Larry Kramer stuff difficult to get into because the dialogue is so speechy. Like, it just doesn't feel natural to me. No,
but it reminds me sort of Paddy Chayefsky's stuff from the 70s.
Sure, yes.
Because it's what I get what you mean. Like, no one actually talks the way that they talk, except for those, like, hyper intellectuals that get locked in the same room together.
Yes.
So there's something I like about watching extremely verbal people spar verbally at each other, but I know it's speechifying for 3 hours.
Yeah. And, you know, I get it that's a thing. Sometimes I love it. Like, for sure, like, Network, I think, is, like, a great film, even though, like, that's another one where, like, nobody talks like that. But, yeah, like, the Gilmore Girls thing of, like, it is not possible to put words in people's mouths like this in a natural way, so we're just not even going to try to make it natural.
Yeah.
Charles D says you should check out the Chester Lockhart music video for In Loving Memory. I don't know about that, but I'm adding that to the list. And Paul says Oregon Shakespeare Festival got permission to produce a same-sex Oklahoma this month. Curly and Lori are women and Judd's still a man. Adu, Annie, and Will are both men. Oh, man, that's great.
I always saw it on Facebook. Yeah, that's exciting.
Huh. Lee Clinton says, God's Own Country is set in Yorkshire, and Richard is laughing about subtitles needed for understanding people in Yorkshire.
Well, my family is Welsh. Well, I usually watch things at subtitles at night because I can't hear when I'm smoking pot. But that's why I was like, I thought it was subtitled. That's probably why.
Oprazine says, Boys in the Band is super expensive, $169 for side mezzanine. Well, I mean, it's all like stars, right? So
yeah. All gay stars.
All gay stars. Charles D. recommends the book Gay Bar, the memoir of a woman who ran a gay bar in Los Angeles in the 40s to 50s. Whoa, that's amazing. I definitely put that on the list. Gay Bar book. Oh. The podcast Sewers of Paris is named for a gay bar from L.A. In Hollywood. It was called the Sewers of Paris in like the 70s or so. How long has this been going on? By Ethan Morden. Oh, the novel by Ethan Morden. Wait, it's not by Ethan Morden, right? I thought he was the character. Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought he was the character in the book.
Oh no, he's the writer.
Okay.
This is like my favorite book of all time. It follows different gay characters from the 40s to the 90s all across America, and you follow all of the characters unless they die in the 70s. But it's their trajectories, and it like I love it so much.
That is really sweet. Yeah. Oh gosh, look at how thick it is. That's a lot of book in that book.
Thick book, man.
But that's, somebody asked at the beginning of the stream, what's the best and worst thing about being queer? And, we're talking about some of the worst things, discrimination and feeling like an outsider and like you don't belong. But I think that book gets to the best things, which is the logical family and finding the community and supporting each other because you have to get by. And like being queer doesn't exactly force you to be a better person, but it gives you a lot of opportunities to be a better person. And it's up to you whether you're going to take them.
Yeah, the only downside to me being queer is having to deal with people that aren't cool with it, which is more and more rare. But like, I love that this is my life. Mm-hmm. Like, love it. I think it's rad.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it really.
Look how cute.
Yes. It's true. And like, I do recommend everyone following Ray's Instagram for lots of sexy, cute pictures of gay life. Yeah, are you being shy?
Every once in a while, my in-laws are like, did you have to post that? And I was like, I'm documenting every cute thing that happens because one day it won't be there.
This is, it's gay culture, is posting the occasional butt on Instagram.
If you got peaches.
Might as well. Let's see. Richard says, I use subtitles almost all the time in the US or UK. I'm American and Jamaican with half a life in London. I mean, so yes, when I watch Little Britain, was it Little Britain? Like opens with that, a sketch that is like in a heavy accent. And I was like, oh no, we're turning the subtitles on for this.
Right.
Because it's just too much patois. Allow me to recommend to Silas these two artists, Eli Lieb and Steve Grand. Steve Grand, the musician? Steve Grand's a musician, right? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
The country singer boy?
Yeah, I think that's who I'm thinking of. Steve Grand. And also Eli Lieb, who I don't know. Abrzine says, Ethan Morden is the world's most prolific writer. And Paul says he wrote gay novels and nonfiction books on musical theater history. He's conservative and crotchety in interviews, but his books are great.
And his book on opera is not just informative, but it's ladled with that, rapier gay wit that we all cherish. That like it's hysterically funny while I'm like learning about, opera.
Operazine's recommending the definitive opera book Demented, as well as a series of decade by decade books about Broadway. Oprazine says I interviewed him a few years ago, and he was a very queer duck indeed.
Tell him I love him and he saved my life. I need to contact this man and thank him.
Oh, that's so sweet. And Ty Cedars wants to know what your Instagram handle is.
Oh, it's at Atticus Bennett. Atticus, the traditional way it's spelled, I guess, Atticus. Bennett. I double T'd the ending. It's my two favorite boy names in the world, Atticus and Bennett. So I put them together.
Those are good names.
They're good names.
Let's see. Silas says yes. Oh, yeah, about Ethan Morden, prolific. Oh, yeah. So yes to Steve Grand, the musician. Now he's been through a lot of different. There's been a lot of different Steve Grands. I think. Like I think he did like a lot of different styles of music before he settled on whatever he's doing now, which is, what is he doing? I believe, country.
Okay. I I've never listened to him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know who I don't know who Eli Lieb is. He says, "Oh yes, very literary." Well chosen, says Ty, about the Instagram name.
Thank you.
My Instagram is just my actual name, which is not terribly imaginative.
You have a great name, though.
Thank you. I try. It's awkward because nobody knows how to pronounce or spell it, but it's what I got, so I'm sticking with it. What was I just? Oh, we were just looking at Felicia Day, who's turns out Felicia Day's first name is Catherine. Wait, is it Catherine or like it's something other than Felicia? And Daniel says, do you know of good documentaries? Oh, do we? I mean, Paris is Burning, obviously, is the place where you start.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about Small Talk is another documentary I just watched that was quite moving. There's an Armistead Maupin one that just came out that I loved. What else? Strike a Pose, yeah.
It's so moving. I thought it was going to be like a behind-the-scenes Madonna thing. It is absolutely a look at what it was like to be a 20-something gay man when the AIDS crisis was hitting in early 90s. It's absolutely so moving. Blew me away.
Yeah. What was the title?
Strike a Pose.
Strike a Pose.
It follows the gay male dancers that were in Madonna's Blonde Ambition tour and in the Truth or Dare documentary. It's them 30 years later.
So, I mean, I guess like the order to watch it is watch Truth or Dare and then watch Strike a Pose.
Yeah, man. Double feature that shit.
Yeah. That would be such a good double feature. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, if like the Castro Theater did that, that'd be great.
Right, dude.
Sophia says, nice butts.
They're not bad, eh? Hey.
What are some other good documentaries? Other gay documentaries.
Trembling Before God is a great one
Mm.
about Hasidic Jewish community.
There's also like a really sweet one called Small Town Gay Bar that I think like
Oh,
its reach kind of exceeds its grasp. Like there's a lot of good stories to tell, and I don't think the documentary like tells like has the resources to tell all of them really well. But it's a
Yes.
really nice peek into small town gay bars.
Yeah.
So I find that one very cute. And then what else? What are some other good ones?
Southern Comfort.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's about oh God, I haven't seen it in so long. It's about, I think it's a convention or a meetup that happens for transgender people in the South, and a love story that develops between two of them over the years as one of them, and their health is getting worse, but it's very interesting. I like that.
That sounds fantastic. You know, those like lesser told stories about like either like aging people who are aging or people who have you know they are in wheelchairs or people of color. You know, these are the stories that you don't often see told in fiction. So it's a relief when documentaries tackle them. And Tomer says, I'm a big fan of David Weissman's documentaries. Oh, We Were Here and the Cockettes. Yes. Those are so good. There's another one. Actually, I think David Weissman also did the Armistead Maupin documentary. I could be wrong about that. There's another one called Gay Sex in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some good recommendations from Charles D. Word is Out, Celluloid Closet, Paragraph 175, and Brother Outsider. All fantastic.
There's one, I forget what it's called. It's about Joni. She was a musician, lesbian musician in California in like the 40s and 50s. She appears in Some Like It Hot. And then she like started a commune farming thing for queer people. It was, I can't remember what it's called. Google, lesbian Joni musician documentary.
Okay.
Her.
Wow. That sounds fantastic. Ivan Naida says, I Am Divine. Yes. That's so good. And Whitney recommends Kidnapped for Christ, a documentary about teens forced out of their home and into ex-gay camps. Sad but good. That does sound heartbreaking.
Oh, God.
And Ophelia's Ghost brings up a project from Universal where a lot of artists like Kesha and Bob Dylan change the pronouns of songs to make them gay. Also, in the video clip for the Kesha song, she marries a lesbian couple. I hadn't heard about this. They're basically like songs that like gay couples can use, like famous songs that gay couples can use at weddings. So it's not like, oh, but it says I love her or something like that. We just make it both, it's Bob Dylan singing, but I love him. That is a terrible example. I don't think there's any Bob Dylan song that goes, I love him, but, or I love her. But there you go. Yeah. What's the name of that project, though? And Kitty says, I remember a PBS documentary on Stonewall that was very good. I'm glad that exists. PBS documentary on Stonewall. Nothing's coming to mind for me for what that would be, but hooray for that. Not docs, but great movies nonetheless, says Charles D. Oh, The Wedding Banquet and Different for Girls. Yeah.
The Wedding Banquet is superb.
Is that Ang Lee?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. That's I mean, back in the 90s, that was a lovely, lovely film. And Ty says, Matt Albert sings all my potential wedding music. Is that, like, I don't know who Matt Albert is. Wait, maybe I do. I'm so bad at remembering names. Matt Albert. Let's look him up. And Richard says, the documentary is called 100 Men on Netflix. A documentarian looks back on his 100 sexual partners and reconnects with many while musing about society's evolution on gay rights. How on earth did he keep track of 100 sexual partners?
Right?
That's, what'd you say? Oh,
right.
Tim says Excel. I do have, I had a friend in San Francisco who did keep track of things like in iCal. Like, he could look back and see who he had hooked up with at certain times. That's more organized than I think most of us are, but...
I'm friends with most of them, or a lot of them at least. That's sort of, how we met.
Mm-hmm.
We hooked up, and then we became do you want to, be friends? Yeah, great. So I guess, could do that.
That's sweet.
I'm going to go count my Facebook friends and be how many of us have we banged?
That's gay culture.
That is gay.
Richard says, I love The Wedding Banquet. And Ty Cedar says, Matt Albert does an acoustic cover of Want to Dance with Somebody that brings out the aching quality of the lyrics. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about it being like an aching, longing song, but of course it is.
Yeah, with somebody who loves me.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is really heartfelt, huh?
Sad. Because she was a lesbian.
There was I was in Europe this summer, and where was it? Somewhere outside of Copenhagen, I think. There was the stage version of The Bodyguard, and like giant billboards that said "I want to dance with somebody," just like all over the city. Which it was really sweet to see like that message like beaming at you. I want to dance with somebody. Me too. Daniel says I had a diary from 14 to 28. Oh, okay. So you've got the receipts. And Richard says some are not named, just called Boy in Leather Jacket. Oh, wow. Many are interviewed. Hilarious. We shared one conquest in London, a journalist. I say nothing. Oh, my. I mean, this is why it's such a small gay world, right? That one of the reasons that you can like meet somebody new and be like, oh, we both slept with that person? Huh? How about that?
Did you guys see that? I thought it was awful. It was that Netflix one, the gay cruise, boat trip, gay boat cruise, whatever it was.
There's definitely a Cuba Gooding Jr. movie about being on a cruise.
No, this is a documentary. It came out about in the last few months.
No, that I don't know anything about.
Love Boat. It's about following a bunch of different guys on one of those gay circuit party Atlantis cruises.
Right.
And it's not terribly insightful. The only thing that's insightful about it is how little insight the subjects have about their own lives and problems.
Gotcha. That does seem... I mean, here's the thing. I think those like circuit parties where everybody takes their shirts off and goes woo are a lot of fun, very sexy. It looks like everyone's having a good time. This was actually a conversation I was having with somebody recently, and I can't remember who, but about how, it was an article that I was writing about like pride and about how like there's a lot of opportunities to take your shirt off and look very sexy and be like a muscle man and like admire everybody's bodies. But like, yes, work on your body if that's something that's important to you, but also work on your personality. Like, have some opinions and be a little, read some books.
These guys are like, I'm sick of just being like hookups. Like, nobody wants to like date me. And I'm like, have you ever objectively spent time with yourself? Like, because if you haven't, it's time. Like, if you just work on this and all people want is this, they're not the problem.
I mean, it's possible for a good person to be physically attractive.
No,
but it's not. No. Okay. You have to pick one. But yeah.
Like, pride brain, pride heart, not just your pride body. Like, there's more to, yeah.
Dreamboat, says Elliot and Ivan.
Dreamboat, that's what it was, yes.
And Sophia recommends an a cappella band out of Oxford. I'm not sure what is made up of exclusively gay guys. Wait. An a cappella band out of Oxford, which I'm not sure is made up exclusively of gay guys, but does have a lot of them. Their videos are nice. Wait, what is the name of this mostly gay a cappella band? That sounds great. And Oprazine says, I think a little insight would go without saying when we talk about guys who frequent circuit parties. I wish that wasn't the case. Like, there's a party here in Seattle called Veronica, where, I mean, the music's too loud to have any conversations. So, I don't know what these guys are like, but it does, like, it really takes me to, it reminds me a lot of when I lived in LA and would photograph those kinds of parties where everyone's dressed in white or everyone's just taking their shirts off or everyone's just there to hook up. And if you go out to the patio to try to have a conversation, there's just not a lot of there.
I did that world for 2 years, and I was like, no, not worth it. I can't.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. And it's not,
Dorky.
It's, I was about to say it's not hard to be this is going to sound very reductive. It's not hard to be a good person is what I was going to say, but there's a lot of baggage attached to that statement. So let's unpack it. What I meant by that is it's not hard to be considerate and listen to other people, but for some people it is. It is actually hard to really listen to people and to really be selfless and to ask questions. Like, that's a skill that doesn't come naturally and something you have to cultivate.
I mean, I think my favorite thing to do at Pride is, I don't go to the big parties. I'd like to talk to complete strangers and get to meet, like, is there a circle of lesbians talking here? Is people over here? Like, when you step outside of your, usual social circle, or most obviously your aesthetic circle, and start to meet people like the old timers, the new bloods. Like we're all in the same place for a week or a weekend. Like, let's interact and share, because that's your fucking family, man. And look, we're not dead. We exist and we're alive, and that's remarkable. So let's hang out. Like, not just like, hey, your pecs are big enough so you can stand with me and my friends. Like, no, blow me, man. No way.
Yeah, that's not super fulfilling. Like, you know what? Actually, I will say, like, the best experience I had along those lines was a party in Amsterdam, I think, and I can't remember the name of it, that I thought was just, I think it was called Cream, which is very tasteful, but okay. I thought it was just going to be that. I thought it was just going to be like, because the flyers were all like, look at my pecs. But I went, and my first hint that this was going to be something slightly different was I walked through the gates into this place, and there are 3 lifeguard chairs set up, like lifeguard tower chairs. And there are people in like full body suits, like those like spandex full body suits with like floral designs all over them, and the chairs are decorated with like foliage and flowers and things, so it looks like the people are kind of like a part of the chair, and they're sitting up there with megaphones, like old-timey director megaphones, just moaning at people as they come in. And I'm like, this is weird, this is not necessarily hookup culture, so let's see what we find. And it was indeed all very strange. For sure. There was a lot of like, I'm just taking my shirt off to dance. Woo! But like all around was just like strange stuff. Like one of the stages was themed around a grocery store. So all of the people dancing on the stage, down to like the DJ, were dressed up like grocery store employees. And there were like bags being handed out, like grocery store bags with like water bottles and things in them. And like you could get drink tickets somehow that looked like grocery store coupons. And so it was just like themed in a way that was interesting. And there was a lot of, not quiet space, but like sit around space where you could actually sit around and have conversations, which is, I think, something that is missing from a lot of those kinds of parties.
Yes.
So there was just thought put into things rather than just like, the thought extended further than working out.
Yeah.
Elliot says, that sounds amazingly weird and also just amazing. It was very fun. Very fun and very strange. If you like scroll back in my Instagram far enough, you can find it. I wish I could remember the name of that party. Tomer's just recommended another documentary, Chavela, about a lesbian Mexican ranchero in the 50s, a type of ballad typically reserved for men. Okay, so it's a documentary about a lesbian ballad that was popular in the 50s. And Oprazine said, I've been gay for long enough that when I went to circuit parties, they used vacuum tubes. What were, like... I am actually curious, like, to Cheka / Oprazine, what were those, like, what was early circuit parties like? Like, what was the experience like at those? And Richard says, one of my favorite things ever, BBC series, Beautiful People, 2008 to 2009, set in the 90s. It's written by Jonathan Harvey, wrote the play film Beautiful Thing. Oh, I do like Beautiful Thing. And Richard Tracy says, Beautiful People is so camp and clever. Even if you miss some of the UK culture jokes, use Google and watch it all over again. Okay, Beautiful People. Let me put that on my list. FK Rachel says, Raphael. Sorry, I keep calling you Rachel. Raphael says, that sounds like a bar Stefan from SNL would describe. Stefan. I want to go there. Yes, I've been to a number of those Stefan-style parties, and it is always a very weird experience. It is as weird as SNL makes it sound. What is the weirdest party you've ever been to?
What's the rating for this podcast?
I don't know, because it's YouTube rules. So okay. I don't know what YouTube's rules are.
I went to a party a few times in Brooklyn that took place in a basement of an adult playground.
Okay. Where
there were, for certain water sport friendly activities. And I was really nervous about going because I thought, I don't know what the people are going to be like here. And it literally ended like being in like the Breakfast Club. It was all these gay and queer guys that above ground you might not have expected to be socializing, that were hanging out. You pay your cover. There was free beer and water and snacks and drinks all night. And the DJ played. And there was some sex happening and some voyeurism happening. And lots of people just talking and getting to meet new people in a sex-positive environment. And I ended up making a number of my best friends there, which I never would have thought before entering those steps would have happened. So that was crazy in the sense that I never would have thought that that environment would be the place where I met people that I would be bonded with for the rest of my life.
That is fun. Like, you never know where you're going to meet people.
No. Yeah.
But you do know that you have something in common, I guess, if you're all at that party.
Yeah, I mean, it was because we weren't going to be slut-shaming people, and we were laughing and joking, and people weren't afraid to be campy or queer or as gay as they were. It wasn't as aggressive as I used to find the circuit parties where everyone was trying to be like this idea of a man. That was just, inhibitions were gone, and it was remarkable. Yeah.
Daniel says that sounds like the Lab in Berlin. And it also reminds me of this place, Church in Amsterdam, where it's like one of those bars where you just go and they're like, no clothes tonight, and you just leave all your clothes, and there's just sex happening everywhere. Or you can watch, or you can get into a sling, or you can go down to like the rooms that have drains for reasons. Just get as dirty as you want. So I'm going to hold up this picture to the camera, and Ray, I don't think you're going to be able to see. In fact, it's so bright that I don't know that the camera's going to be able to see it either. But nope, it just shows glare. There we go. Oh, its brightness is getting weird. So that is a picture that I took at that party in Amsterdam. It was called Milkshake, not Cream, but still, same idea. So there are two guys waltzing. They're wearing floral print shirts. Their beards are dyed green and also completely filled with fake flowers and things. So it just looks like they're wearing like a hedge on their faces. They are like matching shirts, matching beards, matching undercut haircuts, waltzing to techno music. It was a delight, an absolute delight. Silas says, Beefcake, Gay Men and the Body Beautiful by UCL. Very interesting talk that you can find on YouTube. I'm not familiar with this. What is this?
Beefcake. It's about the I watched it on YouTube too.
Okay.
It's Canadian, I think.
Is it a documentary?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a documentary, yeah.
Beefcake.
Oh, there's also one called Life and Death on the A-List, and it's about Tom McBride is featured. He was a beautiful actor, gay guy. He has the best death in Friday the 13th Part 2. He plays the guy in the wheelchair that gets the axe to his face. Mm-hmm. But he was basically passed around prominent men in Hollywood among the other young gay closeted actors. Okay. A documentary about how young gay men were treated and mistreated in Hollywood in the 80s and early 90s. It's devastating and beautiful. And
I mean, it's something that still we're having trouble talking about, but it's still something that's going on. I'll look that up. Beefcake. And Charles D says Simon Doonan, Samuel Barnett plays adult Doonan, the gay one in History Boys, and most recently Dirk Gently on BBC America. Is
Love
that
Dirk?
Yeah, Dirk. I haven't seen it, but I know I like the cast a lot. So, and I tried to read those books when I was a kid because I liked Hitchhiker's Guide, and they didn't quite click with me because I think they were a little too adult, whereas Hitchhiker's Guide is something that's a little more accessible when you're 13.
Super broad, yeah.
And Silas and Ivan both recommend Cucumber Banana and Tofu by Russell T. Davies, who's done so much for gay television.
So much gay.
So much gay. Yeah. Now, Ray, you were on
Queer as Folk.
Queer as Folk as can you just share your experience with that?
Well, yeah, I auditioned 6 or 7 times, and I was offered a number of roles, but I was 19 years old. I was just out of high school, and I kept turning the roles down because it was like, say these lines, show us your ass, and I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. And then finally they offered me one where it was just shirtless. It's like, sure, I'll do that. And I think it was the episode where Brian is accused by his nephew of molestation. And I shot a scene with Brian and me at the club getting all hot and heavy. And then he turns me down when he sees my face. He's like, oh, you're too young for me. And I insult him or something like that. But it was fun being on set. But it was one of those things where it was sort of like, then you're on the show. And then in Toronto, the show aired on Woody's, the gay bar, every Monday. And then people like, hey, you saw you on the episode. It was crazy. I got to be a part of this thing that I watched. Because Queer as Folk aired the year that I came out to my family. So and we used to watch it together. So it was a full circle moment to get to be on this program.
And you're part of gay canon now.
I'm part of gay canon, man. I heard me and Brian Kinney got it on. Yeah.
And Daniel has to take off. It's late in Berlin. Thanks for the movie tips. Love the shows and follow the videos. Yay. Thank you, Daniel. Glad you were able to join. Join us next week. Yes. Auf Wiedersehen. And good night. And good night to you all, says Daniel. Yay. I mean, it's so special to be like, because Queer as Folk occupies such an important, happened at such an important time, was such an important show for so many people. And now, like, I'm sure you've seen that thing that was going around gay Twitter for a while where someone was like, oh, you have to see this. It's kind of this weird indie show that nobody's ever heard of before called Queer as Folk from a long time ago. And so, like, the kids, the gay babies, are discovering Queer as Folk. Like, it's something that nobody's heard of. Which, okay, bless you.
Yes. It's weird, though, because, I mean, I've seen criticism online in certain, gay forums. Like, well, that show was just stereotypes. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, first of all, y'all are stereotypes. You're all just different stereotypes. But I thought that Queer as Folk presented, I mean, it was a very white show, but it wasn't like they were all muscle beefcake circuit boys, because they really weren't.
That's true. That's true. There are a lot of stereotypes that it didn't tap into. And particularly like when Will and Grace started, I remember people being very upset about Jack and Will and what stereotypes they were.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There was somebody who was writing in Bay Windows, which was the gay magazine in Boston where I lived at the time, who just said, I can't believe how many of you are lying about not knowing a million Jacks and Wills.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
I get compared to Jack McFarland more than any other fictional character, and it's also the character I hear people blame the most for homophobia. So that's, like, great.
Yeah.
I love Jack McFarland. He's freaking awesome.
I get compared the most to John Hodgman as the PC. I'm okay with it. I'm fine. I also get compared to Vsauce a lot, which I think is better. But whatever people want to compare is fine with me. Yeah, no, it's true. Like you said, very white show, but also it just I think that really opened up a lot of opportunities for people who were like learning, like, what is gay? How do I gay? To be like, oh, okay, I can like comic books.
Yeah,
and it's just fine. So,
I can be a successful ad exec. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really takes me back to Paris is Burning, where a lot of the folks in Paris is Burning talk about how there are avenues that are not open for them, and enacting them in the pageants is their way of, and the balls, is their way of living the life that they know there are a lot of obstacles for. And obviously, a lot of those obstacles still exist. But it's one of the reasons I think that watching Paris is Burning feels good now, is seeing how many doors have opened since then.
Yeah.
Elliot says, I will never not hear you as John Hodgman now. Good. I mean, I've been compared to worse. So Paris is Burning is definitely like when someone comes out, like, and it's time to sit them down and be like, you have to see this. You have to see Celluloid Closet. I'm trying to think of like other books that I make them read. Oh, like Mayor of Castro Street.
Mayor of Castro Street for sure. I make the baby gays watch Milk just as their introductory, because I think it's a well-made narrative film. And then I usually follow it up with, not on the first day, but the second day with The Times of Harvey Milk, the documentary, because I think it's a fantastic documentary. You
need some good feelings in there too, though, because those are kind of bummers.
Well, that's when I throw in something like Yentl.
Great. Richard says, I look in my glasses. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I can't wear them actually right now because I hurt my nose a little bit, and so I can only wear them for a few hours a day, and then I get sore. But ta-da! I've got accidentally, completely by accident, I have 2 separate T-shirts with woodland creatures on them wearing glasses that are the exact same glasses that I'm wearing. They were both given to me as gifts, and I'm like, are these people like trying to donate personas to me? Elliot says, I love that you've developed such a thoughtful intro to gay curriculum. And Micah says, Milk was good. Milk is really good. I just, it leaves you feeling like sad. So I just need something after that can make me be like, oh yeah, but also it's awesome to be gay. And so Yentl is a good one.
We need more of those. We need more of the films where like we have a good life and we have a happy ending and our friends are great, because I mean, generally that's sort of my life. Like I can't believe I've fallen into the friendships that I have now in my life. Like we have so much fun. I haven't seen or spoken to a straight person in 5 days. You know what I mean? Life
Frankly,
is good.
I'm not sure there are any left at this. Like they may not even exist at this point. The like Priscilla is that to me, and Priscilla has its problems, but like that's a movie that ends like feeling very good, mostly
Yep.
about being queer. Same with Tu Wong Fu. Like
Wong
those are
Fu. Yeah,
both
super
movies.
sweet.
Like at the time, it was really hard to feel great about being queer. And these are
Right?
movies that are like we're powerful, we
Yeah.
are smart, people want us,
Yeah.
and we are a thing to be desired. And Charles D says Maurice has a melancholy but happy ending. Oh, and Charles
Yeah.
D says you should show the Pride or Connie and Carla the baby gays.
I'm not doing Connie and Carla. I hate the movie, but Pride is fantastic because my family lives in Wales, so I'm all about the Welshmen. So Pride rocks.
And I'm thinking like it's not explicitly queer, but Billy Elliot I think is on the list somewhere.
Billy Elliot is so special. That movie is so good.
That ending, oh my god! Like the last 5 seconds of Billy Elliot,
With the leap and then the father having his like.
I'm
Vapor.
just devastated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. And there's also like a lot of like, there's some good queer comics like the Iceman comics that just recently came out that Sina Grace wrote. Those are beautiful. And same thing. You know what? Scott Pilgrim, the Scott Pilgrim books have some
Yes.
like really fun gay characters.
Yeah.
So there we go. I think this might be a theme for a future Series of Paris chat is like the books and movies and music about how great it is to be gay. Because for sure, they're the ones about like, the seriousness of it. But like power gay stories. I think we might do that. Well, so the next Series of Paris live stream is going to be in 1 week from now, which usually I don't like doing like week to week, but I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling in May. We've got a lot of shows that we're about to announce all over the country, which is new for me. But we're basically going on tour with Queens of Adventure, sort of. So we'll be announcing that soon. Head over to queensofadventure.com. Oh, no, we don't have the mailing list for that. Go to dungeondrag.com to get on the mailing list for that.
Is there any reason not to talk about DragCon?
Oh, no, of course. We can talk about DragCon. So I'm going to be doing a D&D show at DragCon in Los Angeles featuring Ben de la Creme. I'm going to be playing, yeah, for real. I'm going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons with Ben de la Creme, Kitty Powers, Erica Clash from Dragula, and Freya Love from our Seattle cast. It is going to be amazing. It's on Saturday at DragCon in LA. So come join us for that. And hopefully we're going to be able to record it. I don't know for sure, but hopefully we'll be able to record it and put it up online for everybody. I'm super, super excited for this. It's going to be amazing. So yeah. So that's coming up. And then we're just getting the details in place for a Chicago show as well. So you can head over to dungeondrag.com to get on the mailing list for that. And join us for the next live stream in 1 week. Same time, same place. And the theme for that one is going to be drag. Yeah, our little Matt has a cast, says Opera Scene. It's true. It's true. And Ray, tell people where they can find you.
Oh, God. Well, if you care to find me, look to the western sky. No, I'm in Toronto. I'm hanging out, acting. You can catch me on Instagram at Atticus Bennett. And you can catch me on the upcoming remake of The 3 Days of the Condor, playing a white supremacist because I'm bald.
Wow. Okay. That's fun. But congratulations on that role. That's exciting.
It's the third Nazi I've played in 2 years.
Oh, okay. Well,
Pays the rent.
yes. Yep, there you go. It's keeping you in furs. For real though, yeah, do follow Atticus Bennett on Instagram for lots of sexy, fun, gay time. It is an absolute delight. Thanks to everybody who joined us. I'm so glad you all stuck around and had so many good recommendations. Look how many recommendations I have. It's all like scribbled down here. So hooray. Oprazine says, Nazis are hot right now. Ooh.
They are. It's topical.
Yeah. Oh, a little too much. Too real. But yeah, so thanks to everybody who joined. This is always such a pleasure. Hope to see you all next week for our next Series of Paris live stream. And toodaloo, everyone. Toodaloo.